If you could go back in time and either vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, who would you vote for?
I would still vote for Donald Trump.
Okay, why is that?
Well, it's about my pocketbook. It's about my wallet. Um, look, we can talk about the things that he's done that are not great, all we want, or his character, as the Democrats like to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's about policy. That's what matters.
What policy?
Well, you tell me. What do we want to talk about?
No, what policy of Trump's is good?
Uh, no tax on tips, and I'm sure you're gonna crucify the big beautiful bill, which we can talk about if you'd like to. Um, Not all of it's great, and that comes down to how the government works. We got pork barrel bills, and bills should just be one issue, one thing. You know, I'm sure you would agree with me on that. It shouldn't be the way that it is. But yeah, I mean, no tax on tips. The fact that people who serve food at a restaurant and make most of their money on tips. I mean, now they're able to claim that on their taxes and not pay tax on it, and now they can get a loan, they can get a mortgage or whatever they need to get. That's good for the average American.
Yeah, so the no tax on tips is a $25,000 deduction on
Sure.
taxable income. So you still get taxed on tips. It's just a deduction
Not the first twenty five
on the
thousand.
tips, and it's only for a few years. So
Sure.
that's a few things. You just don't pay taxes on that 25,000. Doesn't mean you get 25,000.
I understand that. But it
In
does mean
isolation
that you
by
get.
itself, I support that. But that's not the only aspect of the bill. If you look at the overall big beautiful bill, it's going to have a negative impact in terms of the bottom 20% of income earners. For the bottom 10%, it's going to be a reduction in their after-tax income by $1,200 a year to give disproportionate tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
Like I said when I stated this, uh, I don't agree with the entire bill. Are you? Did you not hear? I don't want to disrespect you. I mean, did you hear what I said? I don't agree with the entire bill, and
I
bills
did
should
hear
not
what
be
you
pork
said,
barreled
but
like
is
that.
it a net you think it should be passed or a net you think it shouldn't be passed?
Well, I mean, if you want to look at net, no bills should be passed the way that they're doing them. I mean, look, the way the government's doing stuff, it doesn't matter which side you're on. It's
So then
all
you
not
don't
good,
support
right?
any policy.
No, that's not what I said. What
That
I
is
said
exactly
is
what
the
you just
way
said.
that government is done is not the way that it should be done. I mean,
No,
look, if you and I agree, if
is
you
it
and
like
me
a
are the
net?
government, right?
Is it, so you can disagree things within a bill, but still think the bill should have been passed overall. But you're saying you don't think the bill should have been passed overall. So then you disagree with the bill. So then what's the point of saying that? Oh yeah, sure. There's some aspects of the bill that are all right, but most of it's bad.
That's not exactly what I said. I think you're twisting what I said a little bit.
Then go ahead and clarify.
I said there's good parts of the bill, but it's not all good. And bills, the way that the government passes bills, should not be done the way it's done, where it's pork barreled or pork bellied or whatever we want to call it, and we just add things in, and then hey, this is the thing that matters, and we tell the American people we push this part of it, and then all these other riders are on there, and those are not good, not always, and usually they're not, right? So, I mean, we can look at any bill, whether it's Donald Trump passed or Biden passed or Obama passed or Bush or Clinton. It doesn't matter. They're all like that.
Okay. So then if you think every
So we
bill
can.
shouldn't be passed,
No,
then
that's again not what I'm saying. I'm saying the way that uh, the way that bills are put through
okay.
Congress and put through the
So if
House.
some bills should be passed, then you agree that in this specific circumstance, this is a bill you shouldn't pass. So are there any bills that Donald Trump supports that got passed that you think net should have been passed?
No, what I'm saying
No.
is that no, what I'm saying is that there's aspects of this bill that are good. There's aspects of it that are bad, and I think you would agree with me that we could say that about any bill that anyone has ever passed in government. And I understand what you're saying. What is the net effect, right? I understand what you're saying, and I think that depends on the person or on the American, right? What parts of the bill affect me might be different than what parts of the bill affect you, you know, or somebody else, of course, you know. So at the end of the day, we all vote with, what matters to us, and some people might say, well, I vote because for a person or a candidate because what is the net effect, right? But at the end of the day, we're all selfish, and we vote for what affects us the most in the way that we want it to affect us, right? I would like to point out that there is a big difference between a quote unquote Republican or somebody who leans right on policy and a MAGA person, right? Those are different people, you know. I'd really love to get your take on that.
Sure. What was the answer to the question?
Which question? Because I went on a little tangent there. I'm sorry.
I know. I was asking for like the specific policy that you would think is like something that you think should have been passed that Trump got
Well,
passed.
more money for Americans. I mean, look, I the first $12,500 of overtime that I make, I'm not going to pay
So
taxes
the
on
big
that.
beautiful
That
bill
affects
should have
me
been passed.
personally. Again, I already told you that bills should not be done the way that they're done. I'm saying that that part of that bill affects me in a way that is
I get it, but I
aggregate.
asked you, could you name any policy of Donald Trump's that he influenced to get passed that you think that bill that he passed should have been passed?
Well, why don't you give me examples and I'll tell you how I feel about them?
Why can't you just answer my question?
Because I'm coming on your live, and if you would like to know how I feel as a quote unquote Trump supporter, then let's do it that way. I think that's fair.
It's not. I'm asking you the question. And you're not answering it. If you want to act this
I
way, I'll
don't
just
have
kick
any
you and go to the
specific.
next person.
No, it's okay. I
You're
don't
being
have any.
incredibly dense. Like I actually like I'm just asking you, like literally, and you won't provide it.
I mean, if you have
You
any
could just say you
specific
don't. You
policies
could
you'd
just say
like
that
to
you
know how
don't
I
know
feel
a
about,
policy. That's fine. You could just say you don't know.
I don't have any specific policies off the top of my head. I think I said that.
Okay, well then why are you saying that like we're the ones not focusing on the policy and that the reason why he's so good is because of his policy? If you don't even know a single policy you think that should have been passed of his.
Well, I just don't know which ones you would like to talk about. I'm trying to put the ball in your
When
court.
I don't know which ones you would want to talk about because it doesn't sound like any on the top of your head.
I told you I don't have any off the top of my head that, like, do
So
we
what
want
are
to
we
talk
supposed
about
to?
this
Well,
in front
what
of
did you think
4,000
we were going to
people,
talk about?
Whatever you want to talk about. You ask me the question. You're the host.
Yeah, well, I have to talk about what you support, but if you can't answer what you support, like I don't know what I can like.
Well, I think
You
I
have
told
to
you I don't
not a
support
single
Trump as
policy.
a
So
person,
you don't
but
support him as a person. You support him because of his policies, but you don't even know what his
yes.
policies are that you think should have been passed.
Well, his policies affect you. They affect me, and they're good for me. I mean, I'm doing well right now, and I'm paying less money in taxes, and that is important to me. I
Okay,
mean,
it's good. So, do you?
or I'm going to pay. I'm sorry. I'm going to get a reimbursement on my taxes, right? I'm not paying less right now, right? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, but you're willing to cut 10 plus million people off their health insurance, and you're willing to cut 2.5 million people off their food stamps on average per month in order to be able to
Yeah.
get that
Listen, I
small
went
little
through this
tax
with
cut.
Dean. I went through this with Dean about an hour and a half ago, and
So then
it's
you
not.
already got cooked on this point, and you still hold the same view.
No, I didn't get cooked on that. He kicked me, and he pretended that he couldn't hear me talking anymore.
What
So
did he? So he
because I
kicked
had
you
him
because he
cornered.
couldn't hear you talking. I
Well,
guarantee
he
you
could
didn't have
hear
him.
me, and he
You
pretended that
did
he
not
couldn't.
have him cornered. You are the most delusional person ever.
Okay, okay,
Why
okay,
do
okay. I
people
didn't
say
have him
that? Why do
cornered
people say that? I know you
because it
didn't.
was the
I know you
exact point
didn't.
that you just
I'm
brought
having a
up. It was the
conversation with
exact
you.
point.
Wait, by the way, I'm having a conversation with you right now, and I know damn well you didn't. Like I could totally admit
Okay.
that there are some people out there that are smart. You're not one of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. It- the thing is, I had this exact portion of this conversation that you tried to bring up just now with Dean, and that's where he kicked me because he couldn't respond to it. And the point I made to him was that you you can't categorize this as, oh, he dumped 10 million people off of Medicaid, right? Because that isn't it. That's not accurate. He made a bad point, and I think you're trying to make maybe the same point. And I don't want to. I don't want to put you in that box if that's not what you're doing. I don't want to.
Trump did want to
I don't
cut
want to
10 million people off of Medicaid. That's literally what the bill does.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He put work requirements. Let's be accurate, you and me. He put work requirements on Medicaid. He put work requirements on other social programs. Why do you not agree with that?
Because I
If
think that
somebody is
everyone in this
able,
country
no,
deserves
wait,
health
I'm not.
insurance, and I think everyone in this country deserves food. Crazy
Okay.
radical concept. People deserve
I didn't
health care
say
and
that.
food.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that was a radical concept. I think me and you are probably agree on a lot more things than you right now think that we do. Um, but here was the point I made to Dean, and I'll make it to you too. If somebody is able to work, right? Why shouldn't there be a work requirement on, say, food stamps, free lunches for their children at school,
What? Wait,
any other
dude.
social
Oh, you're
programs?
so.
Why should
Oh,
be
dude,
a
you're
work
so
requirement?
gross. You're so gross. You're so gross.
Why
Oh
should,
my
if
god.
you're able to work,
Wait,
why
I'm sorry.
shouldn't
I'm
you
sorry.
work?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You think that their kids' food should be? Oh, don't even. You're disgusting, dude.
How?
You,
I
you're,
have
you,
children.
you.
How am I
No.
disgusting?
Oh, dude. Oh, it's so gross that
Answer
you're
my question
advocating.
instead of pandering.
Oh my god. No, it's so gross that
You're
you're
pandering
advocating
to your
for.
base right now.
It's so gross that you're advocating to cut children's food, right? Like we're talking,
The
like
parents are able to work and they choose
listen,
not.
dude, school lunch. School lunch is not a big portion of the budget, bro. Don't cut like children getting food. Every single child in this country should have free school lunch. Every single kid. What the they're children. They're children. If they need it, they should absolutely be able to get it. What? Many children rely on that. I knew kids as when I was a child, right, that relied on that. Right? That's what they would get in the mornings, right, and at lunchtime. And that's what their food was mainly for the day. Right? And like the fact that they would go, right, to literally to bed or go back home hungry or be like in at school, like not being able to like eat, being like starving, hungry is crazy. Why would you advocate for children
Okay.
in this country to be
Okay.
starving?
Let's talk about
Like
something.
I really don't
Uh,
understand that.
food stamps. Okay. Let's put that one aside. I understand your point. I understand your point of view on that. I do. Um, there's more to it, I think. But let's talk about food stamps. Let's talk about WIC. Let's talk about stuff like that.
No,
If
no, I'm
those
serious. I'm
people are
serious. I
able
want
to
you to
work,
address that. No, the children aren't gonna work, regardless of the situation they're
no,
in.
but
Why
if their
should their
parents
food
are
be?
able to work
Oh my
and they
god!
choose not to,
So the kids should
they
starve
choose not to.
so the kids should starve.
No, those kids should probably be taken away from the parents that choose not to be good parents. That's probably the answer, right?
Okay, so then why are you advocating for the if in no circumstance were that true and child services would come into the situation, you're telling me in that circumstance that that they wouldn't have their children. So why is Donald Trump not enforcing that law under your worldview?
Why has no president ever? I mean, it's not
I'm
up to the
asking you.
president to enforce that law, but why has nobody ever enforced that law?
Why,
If
no, I'm
parents are
asking why is
lazy
Donald
and
Trump?
they can't pack a
Because that's
lunch for their
ridiculous.
kid,
Wait, no. When
if
you say
they're able
lazy,
to and they
you say
choose not to.
no. You say
No, no,
lazy.
no.
You say lazy. You're just saying they can't afford it, right? No kid in
No,
this
I
country,
didn't
no
say
person
that.
in this
That's not
country should go
accurate.
without food.
No, 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 no.
You're
That's
okay
not
with
accurate.
you're okay
That's
with
not what I
millions.
said.
You're okay with millions
That's
of
not what
people
I
losing
said.
access. You're okay with millions of people losing access to food. I also just want to give you an example. Like you understand that there are people who are disabled who have not qualified for disability yet, and it is the case that they would get restricted access to these particular systems if they have not yet qualified. Yet it is the case that they can't
I
work.
understand that. I
So then
understand that. What
you're
we're
okay with them
talking
being cut off?
no, no, the point that I brought up was people that are able to work and choose not to.
Wait, wait, but like
Let's dial it down to that, because that's the point I
you
made.
can't sit there and act like the only people who are affected by the policy meet that description.
I'm not saying no.
That's what you're doing.
I agree
You're
with you.
acting
The
like the
people that
only people
no, I'm
impacted by the
not.
policy
No,
meet
I'm
that
not.
description.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is there's abuse and fraud.
Okay, well then how do you know that you're cutting off abuse and fraud specifically by doing these work requirements?
Because if they're not getting disability from the government, they're able to work, which means they
Oh
should
no,
work.
no,
And
no,
if they're
no,
not
not
working,
that is
they should
definitely
not
not
get these
always true.
programs.
I gave you an example of
Oh,
someone
come
who is
on.
not, who is applying for disability but is not currently on disability, has not currently
Okay.
qualified, yet they are
Okay. And
they're
listen, I've
disabled and
lived that.
wait, hold,
I've lived
listen,
that. I'm
listen,
okay.
Jesus Christ.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'll let you talk. I'm sorry. I'll be respectful.
Yeah, so in that circumstance where they haven't quite hit the point where they've qualified for disability, but they are disabled and they cannot work, right? In that circumstance, you're saying they should be kicked off because it takes a long time for them to get access to disability.
No, I'm not saying that. Listen, I've lived that. I'm a disabled Marine Corps veteran. So is my wife. We both get disability from the Marine Corps, or I'm sorry, from the VA. And so, yeah, I understand that it takes a long time. Okay. But as a human being, as a parent, also as a American citizen, I also understand that I've got to make do. I got to pull myself up. I know you guys hate this. It's something the boomers say, and I hate it too. But you have to pull yourself up with the bootstraps. You've got to make it happen
That's so
at the end
cringe.
of the
Well,
day.
Ironically,
How is that cringe? You've got to make it
because
happen
ironically that's not possible.
how?
Isn't it like not possible to
Because
pull
I've done
yourself
it.
up
Tell
by
me
your
how.
bootstraps?
No, tell me how it's not possible, because I've done it. Tell me.
No, by the way,
So
no,
is my
we're no.
wife. She's
I'm
also
saying,
a disabled
listen,
veteran. Tell me how.
I'm saying in a literal sense. Like it's impossible to
What
pull
do you mean by
yourself up
that?
by your bootstraps. Like
Of
I'm
course,
saying,
that's
like
not a literal
isn't it
statement.
supposed? Yeah, I'm making a joke
Of
because like
course, it's not.
that's ridiculous. Secondly, if you want to increase social mobility, having a social safety net increases social mobility. We can point to countries around the world that have used universal healthcare systems that expand access to social
And they
safety
pay
nets,
60% of their
and it
money
is
in
like
taxes.
you
Do you
understand
want
that
to do that? I don't.
you look at their effective tax rates. Their effective tax rates are not 60%.
They're twice as much as what we pay,
So again,
depending on your tax
so
bracket, of course,
wait.
obviously. But
If it would you be okay with spending it? Say it was twice as much, which it's not, by the way. Say it
it
was
is.
twice as much. Would you be okay with paying twice as much if it is the case that you had no deductibles, no premiums, no copays? You didn't have to pay for schooling. You had access to housing if you needed it, unemployment insurance, paid family leave, paid maternity leave, right? Like
No, no, I wouldn't be
they
okay with
didn't
that.
decrease your VA benefits.
No, I wouldn't be okay with that. Because here's the reality, for me at least, okay? Uh, do you really want to we'll get into it. I'm a helicopter mechanic. That's my day job, okay? I make probably 40, well, I make 40 some dollars an hour, work a lot of overtime, probably make about $110,000 a year, okay? My wife also makes about $100,000 a year doing what she does. We make good money. We can afford a living. We can afford a home. We can afford this. We can afford that. We can do the things. We can live, okay? And yes, people that are making $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year, even if there's two of them, I understand they cannot afford to pay for health care. They can't afford to pay their copays. They can't afford that, okay? But that's the problem, is that if you're making $20,000 a year, what does that mean? That means you're working at McDonald's. You're
So,
a
by the
server
way,
at a restaurant.
you're gonna have 200K, and you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay, and you're gonna have everything taken care of in your life. And your life isn't gonna change at all if Kamala Harris were president. Your taxes wouldn't go up. You wouldn't have any more liabilities in terms of anything from the government, and more people would have access to health insurance. More people would have health care, and more people would have food in this
Yeah, people
country.
that are not
Alongside the
contributing
fact
to
that
society.
we would have more fiscal responsibility. So, what do you get from cutting millions of people off your health insurance? You didn't benefit. You don't make enough money to benefit.
The people who benefit are the people that don't contribute to society. They go work at McDonald's, they go work at Walmart, whatever they're doing, it's $15 an hour, they're making $20,000 a year. They have zero upward mobility, they have zero chase for their life. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I don't know how your live is. I didn't mean to do that if that's a thing. But
So you're just blaming people instead of acknowledging that we can have systems
No, what I'm
specifically
saying
that
is
can
there's
exist
abuse
for
and
people
fraud.
to be able to hold up. You're blaming people instead of acknowledging that we can have systems that can ensure that people are taken care of, even in circumstances in which they can't take care of themselves. Or it is the case that there are situations where there is basic bare necessities. We're talking about health insurance. If people can't afford health insurance,
Sure.
they're at a greater likelihood of developing chronic disease because they don't get access to preventative health care. That's incredibly important. If it is the case that they don't
Sure.
get
And I
food, right,
understand.
that's going to negatively impact their health. If you guys were all about making America healthy, how can you be about making America healthy while simultaneously cutting people's access to food and health insurance?
No, and listen, I fully understand your point there. I really do. The point that I'm making though is that what the people you're talking about is not all of them. And in fact, it's probably not even half of them. There's a lot of fraud and abuse in these systems, in these social programs. And you know that. I know that. We all know that.
What's
There's
the
plenty of
what's the
people that
fraud
can
rate?
work and choose not to.
What's the
I don't know
fraud
what the
rate?
rate is off the top of my head.
Okay,
Do
then
you
then how
know?
do you know that there's so much fraud?
Well, do you know what it is off the
No,
top of your head?
I'm asking you how do you know that there's so
No,
much
I'm asking
fraud?
you though. I'm
I
asking
don't mean
you, do
I
you
said I
know?
don't
Are you
I said
saying there
I
is no fraud?
no,
Are you saying there is no
I'm not
fraud?
saying there's no fraud. I'm just saying that
Okay, so what do you think the percentage of fraud is?
there's no specific aspect of the bill that's targeting fraud. There's no criminal charges that have been applied to anyone because of the bill.
Right. So it's just kicking people off of Medicaid that are allegedly 200 years old. There's nobody that's
What?
that old, dude. Come
There's
on.
nothing in
Come on.
Medicaid that wait, who is getting Medicaid that's 200 years old, please, bro? You're about to be put in the
Dude,
trust me bro book because what you just said is ridiculous. No person in this
listen,
country
I will
was
get
get
you
no person
sources.
in this
I will
country was
send you sources.
200 years old getting Medicaid. Where did you hear this? What information? What news
This is a
what news
fact.
are you
This
looking
is a
at?
fact that was
No, it's not.
reported. Yes, it is. It was reported
No,
on
it's not.
NBC. It was reported on
Give me a title right
MSNBC.
now. Give
Your
me a
news
title
channel.
right now.
I don't have one off the top of my head, and you're on my
Go no
screen.
no
I
no. Go
can't
ahead
look
and
it
look
up,
for
dude.
it.
Come on,
Look
bro.
for it right now.
Come
That
on,
was
bro.
ridiculous.
If
You're
I
getting
go
put in the
look for
trust
it,
me.
it's gonna kick
Go.
me. I
No, it
can't do
won't. No,
that.
it won't. I
You know
promise you.
that.
I
You
talk to
know
people
that it
every day.
will.
No, no, it won't. If you go and look, if you at least come back every say I think it's a minute and a half or so, and you just come back and you can see me on your screen and you can go back and look, it won't kick you. And if it
Listen,
does, I'll look in the
I'm
guest
not
box
gonna get
for
off of
you.
here to do that. I'm not
Yes,
gonna
you
get
are.
off of
Yes,
here to
you
do
are
that.
because that was ridiculous.
Well, listen, if you want to kick me, that's fine.
No,
But
no,
the
I'm not.
reality
I
is,
never
there
said I
were
wanted to kick you. I just
plenty
said
of people.
I can just mute you. By the way, I never said I
I know
wanted to
you.
kick
I
you.
know.
I just said I want you to go find that source because you said people 200 years old are getting Medicaid.
Listen, I will find you a source
200
that may
year
look. Listen, 200 years old is maybe an
old.
exaggeration, but it's older than
I'm
people are.
moving the
Okay.
goalposts.
Oh, okay, fine, whatever. Let's just say people that are old enough to not be alive anymore. Like
Here,
there's
give
no
me a
way
source. Give
possible,
me a
right?
source.
I can't do that. I don't want to get off your life, dude. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy
No,
these
no, no,
debates.
no.
I
Go,
really
you
do.
go find the source. What's your name?
What's my TikTok name or my real name?
What's your name?
My name is Jake.
Jake. Don't worry, I'm just literally writing you in my Trust Me Bro book for being ridiculous.
No, that's fair.
You got quoted in my book, dude, in my Trust Me Bro book because that was so ridiculous.